Balance is off balance.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll call our public council meeting for Monday, March 7th, 2022 to order. Welcome, everybody. It's nice to see some real people back in our gallery again. And I guess we're inching closer and closer to getting back to some kind of normal. I don't know, whatever, we even know what normal is anymore, but whatever it is, we're inching towards it. Agenda. So, new business. Councillor Tapper.
I got a thanks.
Okay. Councillor Manning.
I'll pass.
Councillor Pollard.
Pass.
Councillor Epry, sins or regrets. Councillor
Pass.
Goss.
Pass, please.
Pass. And, excuse me. Deputy Mayor, sends her regrets. And I got a thanks and a congrats. And I do have a item that was sent in to me to be included in the first Q&A session from Bob Weber. Okay, so we'll add that. Is there anybody here that would like to ask a question in the first Q&A session? No? Good. Alrighty. Could I get a motion to adopt the agenda as amended, please?
So moved.
Moved.
Second.
Seconded. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Alrighty. First order of business, regular public council minutes from February 21st. Could I get a motion to adopt those, please?
So moved.
Moved, seconded,
Second.
seconder. Any errors or omissions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Proclamations, presentations, Q&A. So we got 3 proclamations tonight. The first one is a proclamation on World Lymphedema Day. And Councillor Tapper, take it away.
Okay. Whereas lymphedema is a chronic and debilitating disease characterized by an accumulation of lymphatic fluid that causes swelling of the arms, legs, and other areas of the body, and which can cause disfigurement, disabilities, discomfort, pain, and distress, and impair quality of life. Whereas patients with lymphedema may struggle with pain and swelling, may have recurring severe infection caused by lymphedema, and may experience financial and psychological strain due to the difficulties of managing their disease. Whereas while there are cases of primary lymphedema that are inherited, most cases are secondary, that developed as a result of trauma, infection, surgery, radiation therapy, or removal of lymph nodes, including cancer treatment. Whereas gaps in research, education, and effective treatments exist, and more knowledge about lymphedema is needed to achieve timely diagnosis, management, and care, and to develop more effective treatments. Whereas lymphedema is estimated to affect 2.8% of the population, or 14,600 people in the province of Newfoundland and Labrador. Whereas the Lymphedema Association of Newfoundland and Labrador is a registered charity dedicated to ensuring all lymphedema patients have access to information, support, and treatment, thereby prompting healthy and hopeful living with lymphedema. Whereas March 6th of each year is internationally recognized as World Lymphedema Day to raise awareness about this disease and the treatment options available.
Therefore, I, Craig Scott, Mayor of the Town of Torbay, do hereby proclaim March 6, 2022 to be observed as World Lymphedema Day in Torbay. So moved. Second. Moved and seconded. Comments? No? I always say these proclamations are important. I know that this was yesterday, but that's just a matter of timing. And, maybe as we go forward, we make note of these ones that come in later than our council meeting is going to be, and we'll look to try and proclaim them a little earlier so people are more aware. But, all right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Next one is Purple Day for Epilepsy, Proclamation 2022. And I think Councillor Goss has that one.
I have that one.
Okay.
Purple Day, whereas Purple Day is a global effort to promote epilepsy awareness in countries around the world. And whereas Purple Day was founded by 9-year-old Cassidy Megan of Nova Scotia, who wanted to let people know that if you have epilepsy, you are not alone. And whereas epilepsy is a chronic neurological disorder which affects each person differently, estimated to affect more than 10,000 people in Newfoundland and Labrador, over 300,000 people in Canada, and 50 million people worldwide. And whereas 1 in 10 persons will have at least one seizure during their lifetime, and whereas the public is often unable to recognize common seizure types and unable to respond with appropriate first aid, and whereas Purple Day will be celebrated on March 26th annually to increase understanding, reduce stigma, and improve the quality of life for people living with epilepsy throughout the country and globally.
Now therefore be it resolved that I, Craig Scott, Mayor of the Town of Torbay, do hereby proclaim March 26th as Purple Day in an effort to raise awareness and understanding of epilepsy, and to support all those who live with seizures each day. So moved.
Second.
Seconded. Comments? I'll have a comment on this one. This is a proclamation that is dear to my heart, that we pass every year, and a lot of people, everybody who knows me and knows my sister, know that my nephew suffers from a very rare form of epilepsy called Dravet syndrome, that he got diagnosed with just about when he was 1 year old. So, he's had many trips to the hospital, and there's no treatment for the particular form of epilepsy that he has, and it's a struggle every day, but they're making the best of it. And I have to say, when people ask me, I don't know how my sister does it, but I say, well, you think about it, for your children, you'll do it. So that's basically how they go. So I'm very happy that we're doing this again this year, and I thank you for that. So, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. And one more, International Day of Happiness, March 20th, 2022. Councillor Pollard?
Thank you, Your Worship. Whereas for the last 10 years, on March 20th, the United Nations has published the World Happiness Report, a global ranking happiness study based upon social, economic, and environmental statistics. Whereas from their report, International Day of Happiness was established by the United Nations General Assembly. It aims to make people around the world realize the importance of happiness within their lives. Whereas with our world facing unprecedented challenges, well-being matters more than ever. As we continue to respond to the COVID-19 pandemic, let's take action to build back happier and make people's overall well-being our top priority. Whereas this campaign is a global celebration to mark the United Nations International Day of Happiness, to promote a movement of people to create a happier world together through a kindness culture that prioritizes support and compassion. Whereas it is coordinated by Action for Happiness, a non-profit movement of people from 160 countries supported by a partnership of like-minded organizations, volunteers, and communities. Whereas all communities and its members are encouraged to celebrate the International Day of Happiness in 3 ways: happier, kinder, together. Do something for your own happiness, do something for someone else, and share the International Day of Happiness with others.
Now therefore be it resolved that I, Craig Scott, Mayor of the Town of Torbay, do hereby proclaim March 20th, 2022 as International Day of Happiness in an effort to raise awareness, help more people get involved in the day, and by promoting well-being and good mental health. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Comments?
I guess it's sort of bittersweet on when we see what's going on across the world, and as United Nations supports the International Day of Happiness. There's a few corners of the earth that are presently going through a lot of turmoil, and I guess it affects all of us as well, too. So it's unfortunate this can't be passed on and something done to instill that in the folks who encroach on other people's properties and territories and well-being.
Oh, well said. Go ahead, Ralph.
Yeah, I guess within the next couple of weeks before this date comes along, March 20th, hopefully, there will be a dramatic turn around over in Europe, and especially around Europe and Ukraine, because you know what we've struggled through this last couple of years, we can't keep on struggling through not only 2 years but well beyond, and there's no way of predicting where this is going to end up. So, you know, looking at the medias, and there's a very, you know, obviously what's happening, especially in Ukraine is sad to see the least. So any amount of happiness that can be come from this, and again, let's look forward to tomorrow, and on the 20th we'll have something to celebrate.
Well said. Anyone else? Well, I will say this. We are lucky to live in a place, and Newfoundland, Labrador, where I think just being here adds to your happiness. When I lived in Ontario for 10 years, on and off, and I was never more happy than when I came back here, because this is where our friends are, and our family, and our home, and you know, it's something to think about, that we're lucky to be living in a place where we don't have to be faced with those issues that are going on in Europe right now and other places in the world. So, you know, I'm glad to do this, and I think that it doesn't take much for any of us as individuals to be able to do something, a kind word or gesture, to make somebody else feel a little happier during the day. So, anyway, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Thank you all for doing that. We'll get, after the meeting is over, Kim, we'll take pictures with those so we can post them. Alrighty, now, Q&A. So I did receive a email from Mr. Bob Weber for our first Q&A, and I think I guess I'll quickly read it out. And so it's about some land that he has located on Hunter Place in Torbay. Hi, Mr. Mayor and council members. My wife and I are writing this correspondence relating to our family property located at Hunter Place, Torbay. We have been endeavoring to sell this lot for at least the past year, but are encountering much difficulty, many problems from our friends at the town. I've reached out to several council members for assistance and advice to no avail. Several individuals have expressed a sincere desire to purchase the said property, but are coming up with a lot requirements and restrictions from the town. The land was purchased in 1990 as approved building lot. We have been paying municipal taxes on the land since that time as an approved lot. What has changed? Now it seems the part of the property has become a conservation zone. The so-called bubble turnaround area facing the lot is now too small. The bubble was approved already for 50 feet diameter. Now the town is requiring 80 feet. Why? Is the machinery bigger? Should not my former approval be acknowledged? And what about the grandfather clause? Who is requiring this bubble and why? The town needs to turn it around in equipment, plows, buses, garbage trucks. Is that the case? How is this equipment functioning at present? And how is the machinery turning now? If the town requires this bubble, why should I have to suffer the cost? This makes no sense. What about all the other streets and lanes in Torbay? How does this equipment function in those areas? I think I've said enough for you, Mr. Mayor, and your councillors to understand my very frustrating predicament. I would appreciate if you could table this at an upcoming council meeting. I anticipate a positive solution. I'll be quite happy to represent myself at your meeting if necessary. Thank you, Bob. Bob, thank you for sending that in. There's a bunch of questions in there. And, you know, we will forward that to our planning department and our committee, and they will take a look at it. And, you know, hopefully we can work with you to resolve those issues and be able to get your building lot approved and moving forward. Okay. Thank you. Now, where am I? Mayor's report. I wrote it down somewhere. I got it here. All right, so my mayor's report for this week. I'll just quickly, briefly go through the activities that I did. On the 22nd of February, I guess, I attended Code of Conduct info session by Municipal Affairs. That's new Code of Conduct legislation that's going to be coming out hopefully soon when the government passes it. And it's going to be, every council in the province is going to be subjected to it. So hopefully everybody had an opportunity to attend that info session, and if not, I'm sure there'll be some additional training or whatever required when it comes out from the government. On the 28th, we had our committee of the whole meeting, and we also met with MHA WAL to discuss some of our outstanding issues that we're facing. In particular, I think one we discussed that was probably most important is water, our water issues and how we intend to move forward with that. And some capital works projects that we have applied for, and some other issues around the town in regards to speeding and the intersection up here by Middle Cove Road and Torbay Road, and what can be done there. So I want to thank MHA WAL for coming in. He's always easy to get a hold of and eager to try and help best he can, and we have a really good working relationship with him, and we'll keep doing that. He'll support us, we'll support him, and we'll see what we can get done together. On the 1st, we had a short meeting to discuss Jack Byrne Arena, Board of Directors, and our community reps, and how we're going to go forward with that. So that'll be coming up soon. March 5th and the 6th, I attended our M&L strategic planning session and board meeting over this past weekend. We had a lot of good things that were discussed there, and I would just point out that to anybody that's in the municipal sector, that the info note came out today from M&L with some stuff, some news about regionalization, and notification that symposium registration opens Thursday, May 5th. Oh no, sorry. The symposium is taking place from Thursday, May 5th to Saturday, May 7th in Gander. And registration will be open later this week. So keep an eye on your mailboxes for that. There was actually, we viewed a video from FCM that our Councillor Appy, our FCM board member, participated in, and the town is going to share that on our website. I know that Councillor Appy asked me today if we would be able to play it on the screen here, but I thought about it after. I don't know, I had to go back and reread her email, but anything that goes on that screen has to be already in our iCompass council package right down, or else we risk the chance of getting the meeting booted off, and we don't want to do that. So we'll share that and make sure that everybody gets an opportunity to see it. There's some professional development opportunities there. There's supporting women in the municipal sector. So they're on Thursday, March 10th, the monthly virtual coffee break is going to be happening. And this session is open to all women on council working in municipal offices or otherwise involved in the municipal sector. So that's on from noon to 1, and the registration is in your email if you can see it. Tomorrow, I would make a mention that tomorrow is International Women's Day, and M&L and Equal Voice are partnered to create a toolkit on that. And I'm not sure, but I think that we might have had a proclamation a little while ago on that. So, you know, it's just a shout out to all the women in the municipal sector, and we appreciate everything they do, and make sure that, and we're fortunate here that we have a very balanced council. We have 3 women and 3 men, and our staff. So we're very diverse, and I think that we should be proud of that. And that's it for the info note. That is in everybody's email box, and if there's anything in there that you have any questions about, if they're for me or Trina is also on the M&L board. She's vice president of M&L. We might be able to wrangle up some answers for you. What else do I have here? Oh yes, so And today, I attended a meeting, I met with the Torbay Harbour Authority reps and MP Thompson to talk about some outstanding issues that the Torbay Harbour Authority has in Tappers Cove, in particular about the safety of the wharf. And it was, I'll try to remember this correctly, I wrote it down, but I left it home. Since December, they measured the wharf that's sinking down there in December, and they measured it again in February, and it's after dropping another 3 inches. So it's very, it's an unsafe space right now. They had that part boarded off, but you know, I reiterated, even though the town doesn't have a ownership stake or anything like that in Tappers Cove, it's a very big part of our town and our culture and our heritage for our town, and we would like to see any improvements that take place. The Torbay Harbour Authority has our support. And, you know, I also mentioned to them that the wharf itself in Tappers Cove falls under the jurisdiction of DFO. However, with the East Coast Trail running through there and those tourism and heritage aspects of the place, that they should reach out to us and with some particular items, and there might be some other pots of money that we might be able to help them identify that they could apply on. Similar, like the shoreline erosion piece through the environment, and MP Thompson was very supportive of that. If they can find some, I guess, some applications or some funding programs that they can fit in, that she would help them move them forward as well. So that was a very good meeting. And what else? Birthdays for March. Birthdays for March. Deputy Mayor Mary Torngas, 23. Oh no, hang on. That's the 23rd is her birthday. Happy birthday, Mary. And that is it for my update. Do anybody have any questions about any of that? No? Good. All right. Business arising for the minutes. Is there anything that came up from those particular minutes that you want to talk about? All right. Moving right along. Correspondence. Government of Canada Prime Minister Awards. So I received this email on the 23rd, and it outlines in it, I thought it did, it outlines how the nomination period for 2022 completion of the Prime Minister Awards for Teaching Excellence is extended until April 21st, 2022. So these are in particular for teachers, Don? All right, so if we know, or we can probably touch base with the schools and see if there's somebody there that we can nominate.
We'll forward it to the Director of Recreation and Community Services, and then they can follow, she can follow up, or her staff can follow up with the schools.
Okay, perfect, thank you. And another one there from Municipal Assessment Agency update. They had a first meeting. They had the Minister, Crystal Lynn Howell there, Minister of Municipal and Provincial Affairs, talk about regionalization and the potential it holds for communities in the province overall. So they welcome 4 new members to the Municipal Assessment Agency Board of Directors. Mayor Tony Keats from Dover, Councillor David Hiscock from Bonavista, Deputy Mayor Mary Torngas from the town of Torbay as the Urban Director, and Councillor Amanda Freak from Deer Lake as the Western Director. So that's pretty much that. And we have another one here from Veterans Affairs Canada, Commemorative Partnership Program funding approval. So this is a good news story. We did get approved for $25,000 under this program to help contribute with the revitalization of our memorial in Torbay across from the old post office. So that's a really good, it's a really good chunk of money for us to get to be able to do that. And we have one from the MMSB Come Home Year Community Cleanup Project. And looks like we'll forward that on to staff. Oh, we got approved for $5,000, that's even better. So we got $5,000 to help with that, and I'm sure we'll be rolling out some programs associated with that when we're done.
On both those funding announcements, Mayor, the Economic Development Officer and Director of Infrastructure and Public Works are going to be meeting over the coming week to determine timelines for project implementation and both the community cleanup, and they're also engaging the Director of Recreation and Community Services on that. We've also applied, in addition to the $25,000 that we received from Veterans Can, we also applied to ACOA for an additional 25, because the total project cost is 90,000. So we should know about that by the end of this month, and pending the outcome of that, we'll either move forward with the full-on implementation or modify based on the $75,000 that's now confirmed.
Okay,
And,
thank you. All good. Any questions on any of those things? Oh, good. You're a fine bunch tonight. All right, committees of council. Committee of the whole, no report. Planning, land use development. Councilor Pollard.
Defer to Councilor Tepper, Your Worship. I'm in conflict on the only one item that's there, so.
Okay.
Yeah, we only have one item actually, but our committee meeting was cancelled on or postponed on Wednesday. So we did deal with one report. And there's a motion here for that, so I think Councillor Pollard got to step out for that one.
Yeah, okay. I was just gonna ask that question. Okay, go ahead, sir.
Okay, it's an application pertaining to C 2020-00286 Upper Evenings Path is RI Land Use Zone, single dwelling infill lot. And we're dealing with it under Regulation 47. So the background, the town of Torbay is in receipt of an application proposing to construct a new single dwelling with an on-site well and septic services at 86 Upper Evenings Path. The property is located in the RI land use zone. The lot has sufficient lot area and can meet minimum building line, as well as side and rear yard setbacks in the RI use zone. However, the property is deficient in its frontage of 24.0 meters. The minimum required frontage for an unserviced lot is in the RI land use zone on existing roads is 30.0 meters. Neighboring properties on either side of this vacant property, however, do all have similar deficient frontages of less than 24 meters, total of 14 lots, making in effect all lots in this area non-conforming with the current development regulations. So there's a detailed background report on the proposal and applicability of regulation, applicability, how's that, of Regulation 47 is attached for reference. So the recommendation, the committee reviewed the background report presented by the department during its meeting on February 3rd and 15th, requested a detailed file review of development history of Upper Evenings Path and an evaluation of how and when Regulation 47 can be applied. Based on the development history of the north side of Upper Evenings Path going back to the 1980s, this particular lot having been the result of a subdivision in the 1990s, all immediately adjacent lots with deficient frontages being fully developed, the committee concurs with the department's assessment and recommends conditional approval of development on a single dwelling on this lot at 86 Upper Evenings Path in accordance with Regulation 47. Therefore, a following motion is tabled. Motion to conditionally approve the development of a single dwelling unserviced at 86 Upper Evenings Path with a reduced frontage of 24 meters in accordance with Regulation 47, subject to the following conditions. The proposal shall meet all remaining conditions and requirements of the RI Land Use Zone Table, preparation of a lot grading plan by a professional surveyor or engineer licensed to practice in Newfoundland to ensure stormwater does not negatively affect adjacent properties and the lot is graded with smooth transitions towards neighboring properties. All standard conditions and requirement for new home construction, building, and development within the town of Torbay shall apply. So moved.
Moved. Seconded?
Seconded.
Seconded. Questions or comments?
So I was asked to sit in with the committee as the alternate for this committee. And, you know, I must say, this was researched over and over with this regulation. It's kind of, you know, standalone and is seldom used. But, you know, looking at the history of it, and we did have a letter from the property owner giving us some detail as to, you know, the ownership, and with the town, there were negotiations with the town when it came years ago to subdivide that property and at least put an access right through Upper Evenings Pat through to Evenings Pat. So that being said, you know, again, it was negotiated and approved by previous council. So this is the last lot in that area, and it complies just as much, I think, as every other one that has been approved. So I do support the motion.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
So there's a list of permit
We're
listings
going to
there.
get Councillor Pollard back first?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
All right. Permit listings.
Okay. So under permit listings, there are listings there for weeks ending March the 3rd, 2022, which form part of this motion, and the committee hereby tables the following motion. Motion to accept permit listings for weeks ending March 3rd, 2022 as presented. So moved.
Moved. Seconded. Questions? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
So that's about it. I think yes, the MEO, the Municipal Enforcement Officers Activities Report, February 19, 2022 is there as well.
Okay.
So if there's any questions.
Seeing none, I'll thank you, sir.
Okay.
And we will jump into admin and human resources. Councillor Manning.
Okay, so we did have a motion there we were looking at putting forward, but we're going to defer that for our next public meeting.
Okay. Do you want to make a motion to defer?
Okay.
Second it.
So motion.
Okay, seconded?
Thank you.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Carried.
Thank you, thank you. Administration and Human Resources, we had our meeting on February 28th. Myself and Councillor Tapper and Director of Human Resources, Mark Whalen, attended this. We discussed recruitment and selection for the assessment management, looking at an assessment mapping technologist with corporate services. So committee members were provided with a copy of the finalized job description, and hoping to have that staffed within coming weeks. The Director of Corporate Services is also in the process of sourcing out an external interview panel member who is familiar with the role and the associate job duties, so that we know that we are getting the right person, I guess, for this position. More insight. Then policies and procedures, where we are currently looking at the council professional development and travel policy. which I, as mentioned earlier, we're going to do some more reviewing on that and have it finalized and ready for next public meeting. There's also volunteer policy. A discussion was held amongst all committee members in regards to the volunteer opportunities policy currently being drafted for the town of Torbay. Purpose of this policy is to establish a volunteer management process and procedure that will enhance program delivery and maximize volunteer opportunities and participation. This policy will apply to all persons wishing to volunteer with the town of Torbay, and a volunteer application form will also be established to manage the application process. Next, we discussed occupational health and safety. Academy Canada, we're going to have an ASH work term placement. We were advised of a regional collaboration effort underway to work with the town of Pooch Cove to offer a 7-week work term placement for to an upcoming graduate from the Occupational Health and Safety Program offered at Academy Canada. This is going to be a 7-week work placement and will commence on May the 10th and conclude on June the 28th. The student will complete a full assessment of the safety programs currently in place at both municipalities using the NLCSA COR audit instrument with the goal of enhancing and proposing recommendations to improve the safety policies and procedures currently in effect at both municipalities. Student will work out of Torbay and Pooch Cove Town Hall buildings over the course of the 7-week period and will travel to and from each municipality as required. Director of Human Resources will continue to work with the CAO in Pooch Cove to identify other collaborative opportunities that may arise on a go-forward basis. And that was it. Our next meeting now is Monday, or Tuesday, I think it's going to be March 15th, Mondays.
Okay,
Our first big celebration.
excellent.
Any questions or concerns?
No, I will say this though, the volunteer policy, and we just had to remember that we have to incorporate the new code of conduct into that because volunteers are going to be subject to that too, as
Right.
per that
Yeah.
session we did there last week. And I think it's great that we're going to be hiring students. Obviously, when we're hiring students and working collaboratively with Pooch Cove, that's really good to talk about regionalization.
I really like that idea too, just from my background where I worked with provincial government. We always used to have work terms. I had many over the years working with me and helped us out and certainly helped them out. So I'm super excited about this.
All right, excellent. Any other questions, comments? Very good.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Corporate Services, Councillor Tapper.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So there are 11 documents listed there from 1 to 11. I'm going to deal with the Corporate Services Committee report. Number 1 is the first. So I shall read this into the minutes. For payroll, regular payroll for 39 employees for the 2-week period ended February 25th, 2022, totaling $110,196.24. Accounts payable for the 2-week period ended February 25th, 2022. Invoices in the amount of $406,705.52 were processed. So there's invoices for approval. There are 4 operating invoices totaling $129,182.66. The first invoice, February 2022, CIBC Mellon, February pension contributions, $23,580.48. February 16 to 28, 2022, Receiver General, Employee Source Deductions, $38,447.45. Invoice number A06-48841, WCSCC, Workers' Compensation Premium, $62,002.73. Invoice 38740, Commissionaires, Municipal Enforcement, January 23rd to February 5th, 2022, $5,152. And the following capital invoice in the amount of $163,000 23488 is presented for approval. Invoice number 202-202-001, Borealis Consulting Inc., History House renovations, $163,234.88. Just want to refer people, if you haven't already, but in document number 9, there are more details for that invoice. So I will move these invoices for approval.
Yeah, you gotta do a motion for the first ones first.
Okay. Okay, so for the 4 operating invoices, so moved for payment.
Okay,
Seconded.
moved and seconded. Questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Okay, for the capital invoice, I moved that invoice for payment as well.
Seconded.
Seconded. Questions? Comments? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
The contractor is working on the deficiency list now, so that's the completion of the renovation restoration, so they should have everything done within the next 2 weeks, the
Okay,
deficiencies.
excellent.
Okay, so document number 2, there are a couple of motions here, and again, there's some background information. I'm sure you've all read it in number 10 and 11 concerning...
Before we do that one, I think Councillor Goss has to step out for motion number 1.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay.
So, motion number 1, the Corporate Services Committee, in accordance with the town's donation policy, recommends a donation of $200 to the Rock Wildlife Rescue for ongoing operations and a donation of $300 to the Torbay Squirts Rowing Program to participate in the Royal St. John's Regatta. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All right, that's fine. I just was wondering, I know that Councillor Goss is in a conflict on the Rock Wildlife Rescue because his wife's organization. What about the Squirts one?
Okay.
I'll
So
speak to the director about separating, doing a motion per donation, go forward,
Yeah.
so.
All right,
Separate donation for your Rock Wildlife Rescue, and then another one for the
okay.
So I move, in accordance with the town's donation policy, a donation of $200 to Rock Wildlife Rescue for ongoing operations. So moved.
Okay, moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Can we get him back? We'll get him back for the other one. because I just didn't want to,
Yeah.
right? Okay, back to Council Tepper.
Okay, we have another donation of $300 that the committee recommends to the Torbay Squirts Rowing Program to participate in the Royal St. John's Regatta. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
So motion number 2, the Corporate Service Committee recommends the adoption of the following policy related to refunds for cancellations of rentals and registrations for recreation program. Refunds for recreation programming rentals and registrations would only be approved for medical reasons with written documentation. Refunds less than $25 will be posted to a customer account. Refunds in excess of $25 will be issued to the customer via check through accounts payable. So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Questions?
One question on the refund being approved for medical reason and with written documentation. How are we handling COVID-related issues? Is there any particular transitional provision we're going to provide for COVID, because I know people can be close contact with somebody and have to isolate or stay away from it, and that changes every day from what we're getting from the province. I know in terms of how we isolate or what rules we have around governing that. I'm just concerned that, you know, someone could have a valid reason in the COVID case and not you know, be able to get a refund because of written documentation requirement.
I know, speaking with the Director of Recreation and Community Services, any, I guess, rentals or program participation due to COVID, we were giving them a second option. It wouldn't automatically be a refund or a credit on file. So we could have that included in that policy if council so chooses.
Good point. I mean, I'm fine with
Yep.
motion as long as we take that under consideration. I don't need to know the exact details, and because that changes on a daily basis anyway. And, you know, as long as we give some, you know, credibility around the COVID situation and things of that nature.
We could make an amendment to our registration forms or our rental forms as well to put a notation there due to COVID or parameters around that. So I'll speak to both directors on that.
Okay. Any other questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Okay, number 3, the Corporate Services Committee minutes. Gives a list of what we discussed. A couple of ones to point out: the taxation allocation of water units policy. This item has not yet been discussed by the Committee of the Whole. It was deferred at the committee level until it has been discussed with the full council in the Committee of the Whole. So I think that's an important item that we're all dealing with. Other than that, we've dealt with a few of the items. So the other one there, number 8, Torbay Common roof anchors. The quote for the Torbay Common roof anchors was obtained during May of 2021. The order for the roof anchors was placed in late fall of 2021. A response has been received from the supplier indicating that the price has now gone up by $11,000. As this exceeds the current budget, utilizing unallocated gas tax funds for the remainder was discussed. Queries were raised by committee as to why the price has increased so much. The Director of Corporate Services discussed the price increases with the maintenance supervisor at the Torbay Common. It was decided that new pricing would be obtained. So I think, you know, again, we dealt with that through the budget, but things go up, and this one is kind of, you know, substantial really from the original bid. So we'll be dealing with that as well. The director is going to look after that. Any questions?
They must be made of gas.
Must be. Yeah. So there's number 5, the invoices processed February 12th to 25th, and number 6, invoices over $5,000, February 12th to February 25th. The check register, February 12th to February 25th, and revenues and expenditures to February 25th, 2022. Lots of numbers in those documents as usual, and the committee went through and reviewed the documents, and with the explanations from the director, they seem to be in order. So is there any questions on any of those?
That price to do the anchors on the roof, I thought they had already started that work.
They did one.
Did it one?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
It'd be for future pricing to do the additional requirements.
All right, okay. All right, because I thought I knew that I saw a notification that the playground was closed while that work was ongoing.
Yeah.
All right, okay, good, very good.
I believe
Thank you,
that's
sir.
it. Yeah.
Any other questions? All right. Economic Development and Tourism. Councillor Manning, you're up. Don't forget to turn on your microphone.
Okay, we Committee Chair, Councillor Appleby, and myself, and EDO D. Lawrence attended this. First item was economic development. There were several things under there. Regional Agricultural Plan update. The EDO provided committee with an update from the February 17th steering committee, which she was on, where each community will be asked to provide a brief overview of its agricultural history for a final plan development. Consultant discussed various reports that either fed into or support the development of this type of economic sector for the region. So the EDO is connecting with a consultant with the Investment in Canada Atlantic Division for further discussions on an ongoing basis there. She's working hard at that, actually. Economic Development Week, the dates this year are May 9th to the 13th. Committee reviewed a toolkit, which is also attached here, prepared by the International Develop Council, and discussed ideas on how to recognise and celebrate in Torbay. A proclamation will be brought forth closer to the dates. 2022 Economic Development and Tourism Initiatives Overview. Committee briefly discussed the annual projects and initiatives, including timelines and creation of potential partnerships. We discussed Shop Local to Think Local. We discussed the relaunch of the Shop Local webpage to a Think Local rebrand, which is more encompassing to include businesses that offer services and not just products. So more details to come on that. Grant research and endeavours. As Mayor said, the EDO has provided committee. She's been doing a lot of work on various grants and applications that are being reviewed and submitted. But, and here are some here, but not limited to RBC to support the awards program, and the MMSB Come Home Year Cleanup Program, which we've gotten notification that we've gotten funding for. Scotts Grove for Good program, research for potential retrofit of light heat at Torbay Fire Hall and Flat Rock Fire Hall. So she's working on all those. Tourism, Hospitality Newfoundland Conference. The EDO informed the committee that this year's tourism conference will be held in St. John's, April 5th to the 7th. And she will be attending on behalf of Torbay. Conference hosts provincial and national keynotes, roundtables, trade shows, sessions, and learning circles. So that'll be great insight to some stuff. National Canadian Garden Council provincial meeting update. The EDO provided us with an update from last week's provincial meeting. Executive Director of the Garden Council, Michelle, I can't pronounce, sorry, gave additional kudos to the town.
Michelle Gauthier.
Thank you. Gave additional kudos to the town of Torbay during this session for being the first in the province to proclaim Year of the Garden. So I'm pretty excited over that, to be recognized and first one to jump onto that. Over 50 representatives, provinces wide were in attendance, and discussion on a few provincial initiatives kicking off this year. Promoting garden tourism and Year of the Garden in Torbay. Committee discussed some of the tools offered by the Garden Council to promote garden tourism in Torbay. Seeds will be purchased, packaged, and available to residents to encourage gardening and to tie into the Proclaimed Day of the Garden on June the 18th. I like this one because I am a garden person, so I was interested in this myself. Tourism attraction. EDO informed committee that content for a new web page on the town's website is being developed and more details to follow. Then we concluded at 7:18, and our next meeting is going to be March the 10th. Any questions?
Questions? I just have just a quick comment.
I should have said comments too.
Can you make a note to just follow up with the economic EDO to see about the student business competition? I'm sure it's on a radar, but I don't want to get lost.
She actually is meeting with the school this week. We actually met this morning to go through her various initiatives and the timelines. And she's actually meeting with the 3 schools this week because she's going to be expanding the Youth Entrepreneur Initiative to primary, elementary, and junior high as well too. She's got 3 projects in mind, so I know she was following up with the high school teacher first.
All right.
And but I will circle back around with her on that.
Well, that's fine.
Yeah.
I only
Yeah.
mentioned that because I know that Mr. Connors from the high school contacted me
Yeah.
about it, so I just wanted to make sure.
She had
that
left
we're-
a message for him, so she was
Yeah.
gonna follow up again tomorrow. And to Councillor Manning's point on the garden tourism, the economic development officer, we're gonna look at the packets of seeds and dispersing them to the communities, and then have residents, if they're willing, identify their homes or civic addresses, and we can promote a community drive-through, so you can look at people's flowers and how they grow and put it on the town's website. I don't know if members of council or the public have seen, we promoted, there's going to be a dedicated page on the website this year with all kinds of resources for a year of the garden. So I know the economic development and tourism officers also with the over 2,000 tulips that are going to bloom in the spring. She's looking at the dahlias for the fall, so
Yes.
she's working through that now, so.
I think that's a great program, too. Yeah,
Excellent. I'm not surprised you took that idea and made it better.
yeah.
She actually provided me, when she worked in Wood Buffalo, she did a banner program as well, too. She was involved with public art. And she provided some recommendations on our call for proposals for the Torbay 50th special celebrations and our banner program as well, too. So a lot of great ideas, yeah.
Excellent.
fabulous.
Excellent. Thank you. Any other questions? No? Perfect. Infrastructure and Public Works, Councilor Pollard.
We did not meet, your worship, so I have no report. Short, simple.
Ms. Kind. All right. Recreation and Community Services, Councilor Goss.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We met on March 2nd at 3 p.m., myself, Deputy Mayor Thorne Goss, and Director Jen Martin. Not a whole lot on the agenda. The department will return to full in-person program and event schedules as of March 15th. Those registered for winter programs who wanted to continue have been contacted, and registration opened for all other residents on March 7th at 12 p.m. Staff are hosting a Patty's Day concert and social for seniors on Tuesday, March 15th at 1:30. Residents from North Palm Manor will be joining in the event, and anyone else interested can register for the event on e-services as well. Staff are planning summer programs and events. The plan is to return to a full capacity day camp program as COVID restrictions will no longer be required. With regards to facility, once COVID restrictions lift as of March 14th, messaging will still be communicated to program participants as well as posted at Torbay Common, encouraging the use of masks and physical distancing. Recreation NL has stated the recreation centers will still have to follow vaccine guidelines as it relates to all employees and volunteers. The Common is back to regular schedule, also booking facility bookings at Upper Three Corner Pond Multipurpose Complex 4 evenings per week, and staff are booking special events at this facility on the weekends as well. We discussed having the need for an internal facility booking process for the events from other departments and council, and staff continue to maintain the outdoor rink, and as long as the weather allows, we will keep going with that. The directors also will be applying for active NL grants to go towards community rinks and other outdoor recreation amenities. And staff will assist in the Lions Club in applying for this funding stream. The committee discussed the need for formal refund policy as we discussed earlier. This has been referred to corporate services for the recommendation. We're also very pleased to announce that the Common will be part of hosting the provincial grade 7 girls basketball tournament from March 18th to 20th. It's great to be able to showcase our beautiful facility, and we look forward to holding more events like this in the future.
Excellent.
That's it for me. Any questions at all? Thank you.
I got not so much a question, but I guess a comment. CAO, I was talking to Mayor Breen yesterday about outdoor rinks. And the city is gonna be doing a, I guess a synopsis after the season about what worked and what didn't work. And if we have any information that we can provide them, we can reach out to them and provide them information that, of learnings that we had. And then we can get some information from them, because they got a lot more than what, going on than what we do.
In return for water?
Write that down.
Oh. Because you asked me, and I forgot to put it in my report, but I did reach out. I emailed Mayor Breen last week to ask him about the report that was supposed to be back in February, and he informed me that it's going to be April. So I'm waiting for the email from their staff person to outline where it is or on the dates, but that was what he told me, it was going to be April, and he forwarded, so I'm not surprised. That's, I mean, that's, it's not atypical for reports to be a little late coming back, particularly now, I guess, with COVID stuff had to go, but anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt into the recreation part of it, but it's all, I guess, that's it. It is what it is. Thank you, sir. All right. Liaison committees. Atlantic Mayor's Congress. Atlantic Mayor's Congress, is he the CEO or is he the director? Executive director. Matt Kerrigan, right? Matt reached out to myself and Don last week to start the planning for our hosting that event here in May. And so now that'll get underway in earnest. Get the sponsors in place to offset the cost of that, or to cover the cost of it, actually. So, oh, and they also sent me an invite letter. And I was talking to Mayor Farwell from Gander on the weekend, and he took over my seat on the board of directors of Atlantic Mayor's Congress, and we discussed extending that invitation out to particularly the UMC members of municipalities larger than 3,000, because Atlantic Mayor's Congress recently made a decision to reduce the minimum population requirement that they had for municipalities to become members. So it'll be more open now to more municipalities, Newfoundland, Labrador. The cutoff before was 10,000. We were still in there in Portrait Coast St. Phillips, so it wasn't really a hard cap, but they figured that that number being out there might have discouraged some municipalities from participating. It's a great forum, and it's I'd recommend for any other municipality to get involved. All right, History House and Museum, Councillor Tapper.
Thank you. Got a report here from the History House manager. Just read through it. History House exhibits and interpretation. Kickoff meeting with the new exhibit design team was held on Wednesday, March 2nd. The museum manager provided an information package including construction drawings, floor plans, planning documents, and historical references to get the project started. New exhibit design meeting is scheduled for Thursday, March 10th. Public engagement sessions will begin in mid-March. I just want to make a comment on this. I was with the manager a few days ago, and he said, he referenced this meeting, and with this new team that's in place, he said it's 100% turnaround as far as cooperation and the new sharing of ideas and the whole concept. So he's very, very enthused about it going forward. So municipal number 2, museum operational preparations, operational planning and preparations for the museum opening continue. Quotes for office and programming furniture have been received and are under evaluation. Quotes for IT infrastructure and equipment have been received, and the municipality's IT services provider has completed a site list. A quote for website design and implementation has been received from the municipality's IT service provider. And And as usual in his report, he lists a number of grants that are either complete or in preparation before their deadlines for submission. Collection management, the town of Torbay's archival holdings have returned home to History House. The museum manager thanks the Public Works Department for their help, with a special thank you to Phil Vokey, Leanne Harris, Michael Barron, Wayne Cole, and Mark Reddy. All returning materials must be inspected, quarantined, and inventoried. Description and indexing of archival materials will be prioritized to ensure these materials are accessible to the public when History House opens. Just to make a comment on that one as well, a few days ago, several of us from the board, members of our board, we went up to help out with Noah in getting these materials sorted and inventoried. So it's the start of you know, a lot of work with all this material come back from storage, and some of the documents that, you know, I had my hands on, and being a bit of a genealogist myself, I grabbed for the boxes that had that label. So, but quite interesting. And your name was in your picture in a yearbook, so Mayor. But you know, once this opens to the public, I'm sure that lots of people will be going in for family history. So number 5, museum governance. After reviewing the current governance model, and after several meetings and discussions, the Board of Directors has approved terms of reference for the consideration and final approval of Council. So I'm sure that document will be distributed to Council before our committee of the whole
I think council
meeting.
has it, no? Or did I only have it?
No,
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I read it, it was excellent.
Yeah,
All right.
yes, yeah, that'll be great.
Any questions?
Any questions?
I just have a question, Councillor Tapper, the collections. So is all of our stuff taken from them storage
No.
lockers now? No, we still have more, right?
Just the paper, you know, material, right?
Okay.
And there's some videos and old records as well, you know, LPs.
Oh, yeah.
So quite interesting, and unfortunately, not a lot of it, but some of it is not Torbay related.
Right.
So all that got to be sorted. Some may be destined for other communities, like Flat Rock. There's a few,
Yeah.
you know, things. So you know, and we're going to find that, I think, as he indicated, going right through what's left to come back, right? So
Yeah, yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
I only asked that because I know that I just signed a check tonight for storage of
yeah,
museum artifacts, you know,
Yeah.
and every month that goes by, there's more storage that we gotta do, so
mhm,
I'm really looking forward to when we get that place open and we get
Yeah.
all of our own storage facilities straightened up, and, you know,
Yeah.
it's gonna be exciting, I think.
Well, Noah's spending an awful lot of time up there now. He hasn't moved his office yet, but if you want to go up and knock on the door just to get in and see the place, I'm sure
Oh, yeah.
he'll accommodate. There's work going through.
Okay, all right, excellent, thank you. Any other questions, comments? All righty, intergovernmental affairs and provincial municipal. I already, I guess, touched on a lot of that stuff. I was talking to Mayor Breen about the water report. Met today with MP Thompson. We met last week with MHA Wild, so all kinds of stuff going on there. Jackburn Regional. Either one of you guys got any update?
No, nothing to report.
Okay, good. Northeast Avalanche Joint Council, Deputy Mayor's not here. I think they're meeting tomorrow night. There you go. Oh, back to 7.3. So I did reach out to my counterparts here on the Killick Coast. So I'm hoping, we're looking forward to meeting on Thursday. We're going to be able to do that here, Don? At the town hall? Yes. So we're going to be meeting on Thursday to discuss some regional issues that are of interest to us. I think the one thing that I put on the agenda is the current situation with the food bank, and just to pick their brains and see if anybody has any ideas. I was actually expecting a letter from the food bank board today, but I don't think did it come down? It didn't. No, so maybe it'll come before our meeting, and we'll be able to have a chance to discuss it and see where we go from there. But this is going to be our first meeting of the new council, so we're going to include the deputy mayors in as well. Just have a little get together and get to know you, and then start planning those meetings regularly so we can move forward some regional initiatives that we got. All right, Role of Flank Constabulary. Nothing has changed here. We're still waiting to hold that meeting in March, right?
Scheduled for next Thursday night,
Next Thursday night, okay.
17th.
17th. Perfect. Is that at the Common? All right, perfect. Thank you.
There's an invite, we'll start promoting that now, later part of this week.
Okay. All right, so keep an eye out for that. It's going to be promoted later on this week for a meeting with the RNC, talk about issues around the town next Thursday night at Torbay Common. All righty, Torbay Volunteer Fire Department. Councillor Manning.
Okay, meeting, minutes are attached there for February the 14th. I'm not gonna read it all, but it's all straightforward there, and what they've been doing, and their training, and things they're doing in their new business, and just keeping up to date with everything. Just wanted to speak again to the EDO, who's doing the research for some potential refit of the light and heat at both Torbay Fire Hall and Flat Rock Fire Hall. But other than that, it's everything is there in the minutes. If anyone has any questions, certainly, or comments.
I just have a comment, and that is for residents and the public. Keep an eye out for the big hole in the ice up at Tree Island Pond, where the fire department were up doing some ice training, and they have a big hole cut there, but they do have it well identified with caution tape and stuff around it, so just...
They've been all out with their ice and water training, and good response from the members, and they're all enjoying it, actually, but from what I could take from their conversations.
Yeah,
So
so
that's great.
I'd encourage any residents, if they're on Facebook, which seems like everybody is, to follow the Torbay Volunteer Fire Department Facebook page, and they'll see lots of updates about different training opportunities that the fire department is doing. So anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Urban Municipalities Committee, I forgot to add in minutes that were adopted at our last meeting. I will try and remind myself to do that tomorrow and put them in the next council package. Our next meeting, we're hoping to have it in Grand Falls, Windsor, and we just don't have the date figured out yet. And with symposium coming up and a lot of things not going on, it's really tough to try and nail down those dates, particularly May and June. In May is symposium, and then Atlantic Mayor's Congress, and then early June is FCM convention, so there's a lot of stuff on the go for a lot of people. Anyway, we got no notice of motion. New business, Councillor Tepper.
I just want to say thank you to the people who signed on. We had a call go out a month or more ago now about wanting volunteers to serve on our organizing committee for the 50th anniversary and Come Home Year celebrations. And we had a meeting last Sunday at the Common and brainstormed, came up with a long list of ideas about events, big and small. So just wanted to mention that because, again, we talked about happiness for that resolution. And, you know, going forward, we got to try to get our people out, no matter if it's outside or inside, in our venues all around town, and at least, you know, have something to look forward to and celebrate, and just, you know, get over this mess after COVID. It's not over yet, but, and again, with all the negativity and sadness in the world, it'll be nice to get people out in their backyards, front yards, and everywhere else to, you know, have a bit of music, a few drinks, and who knows, whatever. So we're all looking forward to it, and I just want to thank them.
Yeah, excellent. Did everybody else pass? They did? Okay. Back to me. So I just want to, first of all, just say thank you to council and staff for all the hard work that you've been putting in over the last couple of weeks. It's our last meeting, and it is important to acknowledge that. There's a lot of time that has to go into making all these things happen, and, you know, it's not getting any easier, that's for sure, and as COVID comes to an end, hopefully people will have a little more happiness in their lives, because I don't know about anybody else, but I know this COVID stuff for the last 2 years has been making Tony really miserable. But certainly me, I know I feel it all the time. It's tough, and you know, it's hopefully we're seeing some positive light at the end of the tunnel right now. I want to say congratulations to Team Young of Skip Nathan, who's from Torbay, and the alternate, Nicholas Codner, who set a record the other night as the youngest player ever to play in the Briar. I was watching him on online on the TSN, and he got his opportunity to get in the game. The team was losing, but that didn't matter. He still got in there and tossed a few rocks, and it's a really great opportunity. I was really happy for him, and happy for Nathan and for the whole team. I think it's a very, very positive thing. And we also have a resident, oh my God, I'm trying to remember her name now, that participated in the Scotties. Kelly Turpin. Yeah, sorry, Kelly. I had it wrote down, but I can't seem to find it anywhere. But anyway, she is also a resident from Torbay and participated in the Scotties tournament this year. So curling seems to be a big thing for the town of Torbay. Maybe we should put the curling rink down at the Jack Byrne, change it from hockey. I want to see how that goes.
Did I hear that not only did he play, but he also curled at 100%?
Yes.
Yeah,
For
yeah.
a good portion of the time.
Excellent.
Thank
And,
you.
you know, I also, on behalf of Deputy Mayor, pass along those congratulations, because she texted me before the meeting when she knew I was going to be here. Please do this on my behalf, and don't forget. So I didn't forget, and I did it. But, you know, I'm expecting big things from them over the coming years. They're so young, and they're so talented, and I think that team, Nathan Young's team, is going to be the next big thing in curling coming out of Newfoundland, Labrador. So congratulations to all them, and look forward to seeing them when they come back. Alrighty. Question and answer. Do anybody have any questions? No? Do you have any answers? No? All right. Our next public council meeting will take place Monday, March 21st, 2022, 6:30 right here in the Torbay Council Chambers. And we will have lots of spaces available for the public if they want to come in and sit down and take part in our council meeting. And with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn, please.
So moved.
Moved, seconded. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, carried.
I thought it was the other Tommy Martin.